Hey, what's up everybody, this is Justin here to make a review for the now finally ended Hajime no Ippo Rising, which ended about 2 o'clock this morning. So yes, taking place where a new challenger leaves off, the series starts from Ippo fighting Shimabukuro Iwao to the conclusion of the story of Kamogawa in his youth in post-World War II Japan. Naturally, a new anime of Hajime no Ippo did excite me. I mean, with New Challenger ending, the animators had nearly 60 volumes to catch up on as opposed to being 60 volumes ahead, unlike a certain Studio Pierrot series, which you can easily conclude is. For now, I would mostly like to focus my personal issues with this season as someone who actively reads the manga and is up to date with the current chapters. Even though previous installments have skipped over parts of the manga, such as Aoki's blackface in Season 1, omitting Hayami versus Kobashi before Ippo versus Sanada in Championship Road, taking out Okita's undercard fight before Date versus Martinez and New Challenger, etc. But this does it a whole lot more, and so much important information I thought was necessary to the story and the character development were entirely taken out. For example, there's really no build-up to the Shimabukuro fight, and it takes away why he's such a distinct opponent. Plus, in the manga, when Shimabukuro and Ippo meet at the ocean near Ippo's home, Ippo's mother actually seems romantically interested in Shimabukuro, until he reveals he's actually 22, a year older than Ippo. The other major issues I have is that it also took out how Aoki develops the look-away, and they also took out elements of Sawamore's backstory. There was a story behind how Aoki developed his look-away, and I thought that was funny how it was presented in the manga and the cutscenes from the games. Because it's actually, it was just really simple at the same time, while in the anime it's like, okay, he just pulls it out of nowhere. As for Sawamura, I felt the anime left out two of the most important aspects of the story. And one of them is how he first meets Sendo for the first time, and this was back in high school before they got into boxing, and also how deep the relationship between Sawamura and Kawabe goes. When Sendo meets Sawamura in the hospital in the manga, he actually reveals to Sawamura why Kawabe cares about him so much. I was upset that part was taken out because it was the very reason why Kawabe cares so much about Sawamura. For an anime so far behind the manga, I just find it so inexcusable to take all this important material out and just rush the series. But I am satisfied the series does get around to animating the young Kamigawa and Nekoto story arc, but I felt the placement made no sense to me personally because it takes place much sooner in the manga, but that Anderson is not an appropriate character to compare with to Eagle as opposed to Hawk. Nishimura came back to direct the last 4 episodes, and Nishimura, the director of the first series, and he does those episodes justice. Nothing was taken out, and it really captures the emotion. But I felt the series deserves to be much longer as well. There are other great fights coming up, but some shitty ones as well. But for now, I give the story and characters a 7.25 out of 10. While the quality and resolution is more in tune with New Challenger, and the fights are still awesome, what impressed me most was Takamura vs. Eagle. I didn't think the fight was that special in the manga, but animated, it got me interested and immersed and changed my mind about it. I felt Eagle's fear and respect for Takamura and Takamura's tenacity at the same time. This is what impressed me most about this part of the series. I think Eagle's white trunks from the games works enough for me, but the golden color in the anime does add the appropriate flavor to his nickname. And I loved how they colored his suit in his press conferences, making him look like an American GTO in a way. If there's any reason to watch this season, it is most definitely for the Ippo vs. Sawamura fight, one of my top favorite fights from the manga. Sawamura's bullet was handled more realistically than anticipated to how it's pulled off in the PS2 games, despite the red effect. It is well positioned as opposed to awkwardly angled in the games. Like, in the games, it's kind of more like this. It's kind of like a really flavor kind of thing. While in the anime, they portray it more as like a corkscrew in a kind of position and all that stuff, like a front-hand corkscrew. But this is just one of the few fights that I felt scared me because of Sawamura's mix of brain and brawn, and this is one of the very few fights that Ippo came close to wanting to kill someone. Hawk may have been a maniac, but Sawamura is a whole different class of beast that crosses a line that Hawk really didn't bother doing. The only fight cut significantly short is the Shimabukuro one, and I felt an important aspect in respect to that fight that pays homage to the second Ippo Miyata spar was taken out. I felt that quality was what would have made the Kazuo story arc, which wasn't in the manga until after the Sawamura fight, would have been an effective first episode in context to the Shimabukuro fight as well. Also, the build-up in the training was a very good story arc, and Ippo builds up his muscles and cardio. I can understand cutting the weigh-in, which was funny in the manga, but the training I thought could have been touched upon as well. And Miyata's fight with Megan Boy was excellently paced and faithful to the manga. The fights are just simply still the same quality with the exception of Ippo versus Shimabukuro. And the animation of the Kamigawa arc is just amazing and brings back a certain distinction that Nishimura gives you can only see in the first season, which he also directs as well. He directs the last 4 episodes. He brings a distinct sense of crisp and detail to his own design and movement, and I'm glad he was selected to do this, and it just brings me back to Season 1 in a lot of ways. So I give the art and animation an 8.75 out of 10. Well, I would like to open this review by saying that I do miss the performance of Utsumi Kenji as Kamigawa. God, or whoever he may be with, rest his soul. He was a great voice actor for Kamigawa along with his most other iconic roles, most famous as Rao from Hokuto no Ken. And as Kamigawa, he had this great presence and authority in his voice. His new seiyuu Izuka Shozo, previously the voice of Miguel in New Challenger, and most famous as Ryu Hosei in the first Gundam series, really captures his gruffiness but has a different kind of tone, but works in terms of the character. But Utsumi Kenji will always be Kamigawa to me regardless. It is also said that another seiyuu legend, Nagaichiro, who was the voice of Nekota, has also passed on but managed to record his lines prior to his passing. And I also love how he ends his sentences in Dani. And he also was famous as the voice of Happosai from Ranma 1/2. But my favorite performance this season was that of Miki Shinichiro as Sawamura, who you may know as the voice of Takumi from Initial D. I am used to Miki Shinichiro as a good guy, but as a bad guy, he is excellent. Prior to the series, Hiyama Nobuyuki, the voice of Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, was always my personal choice for Sawamura, but Miki's performance truly captures his character. What really made the character was his dry throat kind of tone he brings. It really represents more of a thirst for his meat obsession as opposed to a hunger. And I think the thirst tone as opposed to a hunger tone really represents the sadistic tendencies of Sawamura. Because when he wants meat, he really wants blood, and the portrayal really made me love the character more. And Miyano Mamoru, who is more famous for quieter characters such as Light from Death Note and Setsuna from Gundam 00, surprises me as a young Kamigawa who tends to be more of an intense character. He manages to capture both Light's softness and also brings that gruffiness to the old Kamigawa at the same time. The young Nekota also captures the characteristics, and I really can't complain about the voice acting in the last 4 episodes. And Kosugi Judota as Anderson was just fucking awesome. He voices Kujo Jotar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, so you could never ask for a fucking better seiyuu. And the music is a great improvement and excellent uses tracks from the first season, second season, and has a great original one for this as well. I felt the tracks from season 2 were more properly used in this installment. The songs for Sawamura, the original songs they make for him, are just perfect with his dark and sadistic character. And the songs in the Takamura and Eagle fight were just great. So I give the music and voice acting a 9.5 out of 10. Well, to conclude, as a manga reader, my issues is that this series is too fucking short, and this series cuts out some very important details that contributes to the story and development. I felt this series is very incomplete. But the animation, the soundtrack, and voice acting brings a different kind of satisfaction, which I give an overall score of an 8.2 out of 10, and look forward to my next video, which will be some, viewings of some Saint Seiya figures I bought. So, and after that, please look forward to some new Tokusatsu reviews. And I'll probably take a very brief hiatus from anime reviewing to concentrate on other creative endeavors. So, thank you for watching.